Tyreek Hill is having having an historic MVP season. He's on pace for over 2,000 yards receiving. And his wide receiver coach, that not many people might know, is Wes Welker, the Patriot, and also former Denver Bronco
and
Miami Dolphin. But Wes Welker, great wide receiver. He played with Randy Moss, and he had some very, very high praise for Tyreek Hill in the comparison between him and Randy Moss.
All due respect to Randy. I love Randy, and Randy's probably the best deep ball receiver, ever in the game. But Reed can run it all. He can run in the whole route tree. He can run choice routes. He can run looky. He can, he can take the top off. He can, his ball skills, the coming in and out of breaks. Name a route you don't like him on. I just can't think of one. And to me, that's what kind of separates him in that regard, and just his mindset and the way he approaches every single day and every single game. It's very, very impressive. And he's got the mentality along with all those things, which is the most important part. And that's probably where he separates himself the most.
I mean, I think that's very enlightening. I mean, Randy Moss, we all talk about that hand going up when he's running past that route. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
Especially that one against Darrelle Revis. Hand went up, and then he actually caught it with one hand on it. Just
if you're getting comparisons to Randy Moss, you're having a good season. That's for sure.
And not only did he get compared, he said he was better. He said he has a better route tree. He actually can run all the routes.
I can see that.
And also in the game, too, by the way, Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins, and they've just beaten up on every team that they should beat up on. Tyreek Hill had 2 touchdowns of over 60-plus yards, and he did all of his damage in the first half. He didn't have to do anything in the second half.
I will say, and I wonder, not saying that this is a massive difference, but have you noticed that in so many plays, I think actually there was a statistic that's like 90% of plays, Tyreek is in some sort of motion to get him like a head start almost on the defense, picking up speed. Could you imagine Randy Moss with that ability? I mean, we might be seeing what it was like with Tyreek Hill, but just adding in that type of scheme with a Randy Moss, getting him to go horizontal down the line and then take off like Tyreek does, I think we'd be seeing that 2007 season could have been even more insane.
Well, and also that Randy Moss is 6'4".
Yeah.
The game has evolved so much that we're seeing all these motions, but what we are seeing, though, whether it was when Moss played or not, Tyreek Hill, it's different. It's different. Teams, the Kelsey brothers talked about it on their podcast, that when you see Tyreek on the field, that's a different speed.
Without a doubt.
It certainly is. And the Dolphins are riding that momentum. And Tyreek Hill definitely needs to be in the conversation. The year where nothing's set in stone.
He should be the MVP favorite.
But he's not. I believe BCB, Brock Purdy.
Yeah. That's a whole nother discussion.
Hey, Brock balls when he plays, man. He absolutely balls.
He gives the ball to the should-be MVP, Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, CMC. So CMC and Tyreek Hill. That's a whole different conversation.
That's a different
conversation. You think there should be other players involved in the MVP discussion besides quarterbacks, we think there is. Hey, I think that covers all the spiciness. Brad, do we have any other any polls or anything before we move along?
Yeah, actually, I put up the MVP conversation. The options are Dak, Brock Purdy, Tyreek Hill, and I put Jalen Hurts. No Lamar Jackson. I don't think that he is in the top 4 right now. Just isn't there. So let's just call a spade. But so far, 5 votes are in, and we'll see more come in throughout the show. But it's a toss up right now between Brock Purdy and Tyreek Hill. Actually. I honestly think that there could be a case that gets made that a quarterback doesn't make MVP or doesn't win the MVP because of the mediocre play at the quarterback position this year. I mean, some of the skill positions you talked about, CMC and Tyreek Hill. If Tyreek Hill gets 2,000 yards this season, how is he not the MVP of that football team? I don't.
This season's going to tell us a lot about how the NFL feels about MVP because, as you said, if he's the first receiver to receive 1,000. Gain 1,000 yards or 2,000 yards in this year where it's been such mediocre quarterback play, at least from the top. No one has taken that big step to go ahead of anyone. If Tyreek doesn't win it, it's a quarterback award. And it just is as simple as that. We'll never see another non-quarterback win it if Tyreek goes for 2K and doesn't get it.
Do you think it chaps Calvin Johnson's ass that he caught 1,964 yards? Somebody couldn't throw him another 36 to get to 2,000.
One more deep ball.
Well, and the other part of that is the extra game now. So I'm curious if Tyreek can get to 2,000 before that 17th game.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that will really be a telling sign of it. Right now, he's on pace, I think, to do that. I think it's right around there. I think he's
just over 2,000. Yeah.